So guys, welcome to this session. Thanks for being here. It's really great to see so many familiar faces at the end of the year. To be honest with you, the reason for setting up this session was I wanted to show off my new office. What do you guys think? Look at my shelf.
It looks very
Love
nice.
Love it, love it, love it.
So I've been getting all sorted. As I say, a lot of podcasts and webinars this last week. But no, on a serious note, I really just wanted to wrap up the year. It's been an amazing year. There's been some new developments and some things that I want to talk about, some things I want to pop on your radar for 2024, just so that like we're not caught with our pants down. And yeah, so I think we're ready to get started. We've got a fair amount of people here. Excellent. So let's get going. I decided this morning that I wasn't going to do a formal introduction for myself. I was just going to show you some photos of my new home. So this is what I've seen. Unfortunately, I haven't had much time to get onto the beach because, as some of you know, I'm actually having a knee operation on Thursday.
Is everyone muted?
There we go. Okay, no, that's
yeah,
fine.
okay.
I just need to unmute myself. So just thought I'd share some photos. Not that I've actually managed to spend too much time on the beach. I haven't walked on the beach once in a month, which has been killing me. So knee operation, not hugely serious on Thursday. I've just got a torn meniscus. So it's keyhole surgery. So I'm just looking at it like a forced sit around, drink pina coladas on the Lido in the pool. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. With a house full of guests, I'm sure that's going to be lots of fun. So just a quick reminder to those of you who aren't in the following places, I've got big plans for my YouTube channel next year, lots and lots of content going on there. So please make sure that you are subscribing. And also, I know a lot of you are on the Talent Hunters group. I only actually advertised today's session on the Talent Hunters group for good reason, to see who pays attention there, to see who watches the full video, because even today I had people messaging me saying, aren't you doing something today? Like, how do I sign up? But you had to watch the video, right? So I was being sneaky to try and figure out how many people actually watch the content I put on there and how many people respond. So to all of you that are here, you actually are at the top of my Christmas card list. So if I was to send Christmas cards, you guys would all be getting one. Okay. But as I said, knee op on Thursday, everything is coming to a grinding halt. So before I get started, I want to introduce two people who are going to be joining me. So Sam's going to be joining us to talk about Recruiters Unite, which is happening in March next year, which I want to put on everyone's radar because this year's Recruiters Unite was absolutely fantastic and it's a must-attend conference. The second thing is Sasha is here from Team Job Crystal, and she wants to talk about Candidate Box, or I want her to talk about Candidate Box, because if you're anything like me, you get loads of people contacting you and subscribe and trying to say, Vanessa, can you help me recruit? I know you work in the recruitment game. Shame they've got no advice no idea that I can only give them a bit of advice and don't recruit myself anymore. But pretty much Sasha is going to show us how it works because it's going to be really handy. And instead of turning around to candidates and saying, look, I'm really sorry, I can't assist you, there is another option of what we can do with all of these unemployed people, predominantly in South Africa, but also all around the world because Job Crystal's going global, which is really exciting. Then I'm quickly going to talk about the year that was, the year that is coming up. I really don't want to take this full hour of talking. I'm not too sure whether I can stand for an hour with my dodgy knee. So if you see me like creeping down, I'm not shrinking. I just need to sit. And I want to have a general discussion with everybody who is on the call, because I know pretty much everyone on the call. It's good to see you again. And that's pretty much the really chilled format for the next hour. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So here we go. I'm going to start with Sam, as I mentioned, to talk about Recruiters Unite. So I went to go and find a nice picture of Sam on her professional LinkedIn profile and decided I totally prefer this picture of Sam. And I don't know why this isn't your LinkedIn profile picture, but I thought I'd share it with everyone just because I think it's a great photo of you, our resident Iron Lady, Iron Woman. So Sam, over to you.
You make me blush. Thank you. Thanks so much. Morning, everyone. So a few things on my end. I'm really, really excited about next year's Recruiters Unite. One, we've obviously got Vanessa back again, which is fantastic. And I think there's endless amounts of training that we can do. We've got Hung back. He's going to MC for us. We thought we wanted to make it more of like a learning environment, less of like comedy stand-up. We love Guy, love him, but we just want to change the tone a little bit. And then Mitch Sullivan, he is almost impossible to get to any conference. I've been following him for years. He's absolutely amazing, direct, to the point. I was actually quite petrified to reach out to him, but his content is absolutely phenomenal. So he's worth the visit alone. And I thought I would add some spunk. So I want to just warn everyone that I have a developer who's opening the talk. We've been friends. Sorry, let me just switch this off. We've been friends for years, and if you watch a dev conf talk that he does, I think they counted how many times he says fuck. And it was about 58 times in 30 minutes.
This is my webinar now. No, I'm just
Sorry.
kidding.
It's the F word.
Just kidding.
So just a heads up, it's like, I think it might offend a few people, but I think we do need to hear it directly from the audience. So yeah, so that is just a taste of our lineup. What we want to do is we're going to give an additional 10% off to everyone that is on this call. So if you haven't booked your tickets, we literally, I think we've just passed, I know we passed 50% of our sales last week. So I think we've got about 50 tickets left. And we can't expand it because we're going to make the rooms in like desk shape so you can keep your laptops out all day. We're going to have workshops where you're going to do some work, which is going to be quite fun. So in order to book your ticket though, please don't do it via this site. We're going to give you today. Yeah. Email Violet. Email Violet. I'll put it in the notes. It's Violet, VIOLETD @abso.org.za. And in your subject line, you can just put tickets van, and she'll know that it's the 10% off for the tickets. And then one more thing that I would like to announce after also speaking to Vanessa about this. We are going to launch, we're doing a soft launch as soon as our web developers have finished the page. And we are going to have a Recruiters Unite People Choice Award for an agency and for a recruiter. And it's going to be, the criteria is literally, you must be South African. The person who's nominating you must have had experience services with you. So could be a client, could be a candidate, could be an employee of yours. We'll get the top 5 up until Feb. And then from the company though, we are going to interview some of the employees just to make sure that it is a safe, positive, good working environment. And then we'll have our top 5 voted on for agency and single recruits, and that's going to be announced the 7th of March. So we'll do you the first to hear of it. The site should be live by the end of today, and then I will go on social media rampage and do that. But what I love about it is that you have to have experience, so we can't get our aunties and our uncles and those people to vote. Like there used to be awards before, and then I remember what we used to do. We used to be like, you can win an iPad if you vote for us. And we'd send it to everybody who didn't even know what we did. This is voted by the people. So there's no crooking going on.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the American elections coming up, guys. This is how the board stands in charge.
Absolutely. So award for our industry that's voted by for our industry. And that is me. That's a wrap. So please sign tickets. Please get your discount, and I will go live with the voting forms by tomorrow.
Excellent. That's amazing, Sam. Looking forward to it. Again, proud to be presenting at Recruiters Unite. And now that I live in the Western Cape, it's just going to be a short drive down the road, right? Excellent.
Yes, can't wait.
I'm excited. Right, Sash, over to you. Sash, do you want to do a screen share here?
Yes, please. I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Just boot me off there. I think you're the host.
Show the team. Okay, so guys, I want to explain
Sam,
what.
To you.
Sorry. Okay, so candidate box. This is when you have that amazing candidate that you just don't have a role for. Sometimes they've come second in the interview process. They didn't do the lid pot fit properly. Somebody else did. You really want to find them something. You don't have a client to send them to. You want to be able to they're going to find a job anyway because they're so brilliant. It wouldn't hurt to help to offer it to the community. So we are letting in recruiters only into the community. When we say recruiters, we mean people who have recruit for other companies. So it's not internal recruiters, external recruiters, as long as you recruit for other companies and not just one. All right, so you go to jobcrystal.com, go and sign up. It's free to sign up. Once we have approved and that you are a recruiter, you'll be able to sign in. And this is what it looks like, literally called candidate box, where you can add a candidate. So literally I can go add Vanessa Roth. What are you, Van at Vanessa Roth?
Yep.
.com. And I can send this, and she's going to get an email saying, Vanessa, Sasha from Job Crystal has referred you to Candidate Box. This is what Candidate Box is. We'd like to help you find a job. Will you give us consent, and will you upload your CV? So it has to be consent. It is Poppy. You don't just put the CV up there and the whole world can see it. You also have the option of uploading the candidate's details plus their CV and any other files. So sometimes you've got references on the candidate, you've got crim checks, you've got all that. You upload it. When you click share, again, we're going to ask the candidate, can we go and share your details with other recruiters? So this is not a free-for-all in that sense. We always show you on the side any recent candidates that have been uploaded. So you can see who's recently been uploaded. This is live data, guys. And then you can go and have a look. You can go and search for any job title, and you can go and look. So you can see Sam has recently shared somebody. So is Jolyn, Sam again, and some of the Job Crystal girls are doing it as well. So you can go and find any candidates here that has been shared by a recruiter. Okay, so this is not just anybody, everybody. This is good candidates that we currently don't have a role for. That can anybody else help them? You can go and download for free. There's no sharing here. It's not it's my client, your candidate, 50-50. It's nothing like that. These are free. These are candidates that are offered to the recruiters to go and see if you need and can help any of them and place them at one of your clients. And that's pretty much it. And that's Candidate Box. So guys,
Excellent.
register on jobcrystal.com and hopefully we can help a whole bunch of people find some really, really good jobs.
I honestly
ask a
love this.
quick
And the
thing?
reason why I love it is because, I mean, there's so many people out there looking for work, and we can just be making such a big difference. Because, I mean, if we niche and working in a certain area, then we might not be able to help that person. But instead of saying, look, sorry, it's not my field of expertise, like, I'm going to send you an email and you can go and sign up, and a whole bunch of other recruiters will hopefully be able to access your CV. So amazing. That's really good. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you.
Can I just ask a quick question to Sasha? Sorry, Sasha, how's it? Hi.
Has it?
What obviously you're saying, like, if we've got someone that's good that we can't use, what if we've got someone like had this guy the other day, was like a BA/tester, hadn't worked for a year, was struggling to find something. I didn't have anything for him. Is that, like, he's not, is that also fine? Like that he's not
Yes.
this great, amazing, whatever.
Oh, absolutely. It's there to share candidates.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've had a bad experience with candidates, please don't put
Of
them up.
course, of course.
But if somebody is like Van does it, lots of candidates email Vanessa. She doesn't interview them, but she's like, guys, looks like a really good CV, and she puts it up on Candidate Box, and it's there.
Yeah.
So
like
you would obviously still need to interview. You would still need to be thumbs up
Yes.
before you send to your client. But it's available for other candidates who can't find something at the moment.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Great initiative. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So ladies and gents, I don't know if we've got any gents on here today, but ladies that I can see, any questions from anyone for Sam or Sasha before we have a look at the year that has been and the year that's coming? No? Who's ready for their summer holiday? Because you guys are looking all quite fresh and not overly exhausted. I'm pretty impressed. Look at this, like, enthusiasm. I'm loving it. All good.
I think
Oh,
everyone's ready to switch off.
I think we're hiding it really well.
Fake it till you make it.
This is not really water. It's keeping me going. Excellent. So guys, let's
Sorry, I think you've got a hand up from Benita.
Benita, put your question in the chat. We can take it from there. I just want to start about 2023. So guys, if you were to let's say rank this year, let's have a look. If you've had a fantastic year, like best year, like shot the lights out, broken records, put a thumbs up. If you've had an average year, Give me a flat hand. If you've had a bad year, put your thumbs down. So where you at? Where you at? How's your year been? Be honest. Think about it. Where have you been? Okay, good. And I think that this is like some people confused there. We don't really know. Look, some of you look like you're trying to hitch a ride somewhere. I'm not too sure what's going on. But what I want to say to that is that it has been a tough year. And I think that it's really important that all of us, no matter whether you're self-employed, whether if you're working for someone else, whatever the drill is, reflect on the year. Celebrate your wins, however small they might be, and think about what went wrong and how you would try and rectify that. A lot of you know, end of last year, I had a disaster. I had such burnouts. By this time last year, I don't think I could even string a sentence together. It was awful. This year, I've been a lot kinder to myself. I've learned how to say no. I've learned how to not jump on a plane every month to go and present at a conference somewhere in the world. As you know, as exciting and as fun as that is, it's not always good for one's emotional and mental well-being and exhaustion. So you've got to start thinking about what went really well, what do you need to replicate, and what didn't go so well, and what do you need to stop doing. And I think that that's going to be a really important exercise for all of us. From an industry perspective, what happened was, and it was almost a year ago to the day, is that generative AI arrived in November 2022, and it literally rocked our industry and every other industry on the planet. So that was the big one for me. So GAI arrived, generative AI, and it really did, you know, mix things up. Some people embraced it and started using it really well. Some people, the more lazy people, started using it maybe not so well, made themselves look a little bit stupid to begin with. Remember those long LinkedIn posts that didn't sound like the person anymore? Kind of went through that stage. But it's coming right. I'm seeing a lot of people using generative AI more effectively. So I've only got 4 points for 2023, and then I want to actually go and focus more on 2024. Just from a global perspective, also really difficult in the US. As you know, I have a lot of clients in the US. Had a very interesting call yesterday morning that the recruitment industry, they're opening up roles, like Meta did a lot of layoffs. They are recruiting again, much to the irritation of a couple of friends of mine who worked at Meta and were laid off. But what it started to do is the US recession, which has actually been going on for 2 or 3 years now, actually started having more of a knock-on effect on Europe. And we all know as soon as things start happening in Europe, it's closer to us down in the Southern Hemisphere in South Africa, it has a knock-on effect with us, which really did set a couple of things out of kilter for this year. On top of that, you know, we've got a global skills shortage at the moment. It's in South Africa, we're used to this. We often used to hearing about, you know, there's no skills, no one can do this. You know, I sometimes wish, should I have gone into recruitment and really thrown myself into the industry, or should I just have built a cloning machine? Because if we could clone, you know, some of the good scarce skills that we have in South Africa, I think it would actually be far more beneficial. But this is actually now happening from a global perspective, which is why, and I think it's going to be a good thing for Africa. It's happened this year. I had a lot of companies reach out to me saying, Van, we want to focus on Africa. We don't have any skills in our territories, a lot of them in Europe. Where can we hire good people, good skills throughout Africa? So I think for us as a continent and as a region, that is amazing news. And again, tough year for a lot of recruiters personally too. There were a lot of layoffs. I've never seen so many people on the Talent Hunters group saying, I'm putting myself on the market, or I've been laid off, I've been retrenched, something like that. And to be honest with you, it's heartbreaking to see. It really and truly is. You want to be able to help everyone. But I do think that will be around for 6 months next year. So basically, if you haven't had your best year in 2023, it is kind of in line with global standards. If you've had an amazing year and you've shot the lights out, you know, I'm not going to be the prophet of doom here. Make sure that you have something in the bank, because I think we are going to hit a hard 6 months, the first 6 months of next year. But it's good to see that things are improving. Slowly, US is opening up. I was in Joburg last week, Tuesday, at an event at EY for this Winning Women thing I'm doing. And it was really interesting to listen to their, you know, global economists forecasting that they've called it like a super year next year, super election year, where there are so many superpowers, global superpowers, that are having their annual elections. I mean, us in the US included. So that's also, there's a lot of people now that are waiting to see what happens post-elections. And that's why I think the first 6 months of next year, from a global perspective, which has a knock-on effect on us here, is going to be a little bit all over the place. So let's have a look at 2024, and then I'm going to open it up, as I said, to questions, and I want to expand a little bit more about this generative AI. So a lot of you actually who are on this call attended one of my AI workshops. I loved running them. In the end, I think I ended up running about 60 of them in total, and generative AI is here to stay. But I think the one thing that we've all realized, the initial panic is over. AI is not going to take our jobs, guys. As recruiters, the reason why we're recruiting is we have that human element. And generative AI, it must come. It must make our lives easier. It must take away all that horrible admin that we hate doing. But when we have more time on our plates because we're using AI, and we're using things like, that's not Vanessa Rath and assessments, that's virtual reality. A lot of people confuse that. So VR, virtual reality and assessments, which is exciting, a lot more automations going into place. As you know, generative AI is not just ChatGPT. It's other tools that we can plug in via APIs to our CRM systems to maybe ask better questions of our CRM systems, help with email outreach, all of those kind of things. So it is here to stay, and we need to just embrace it. And we need to use it sensibly. That is the biggest thing about this, is that let's not be lazy. I still stand by what I said in the beginning when GAI came out, and that was the good recruiters are going to use it wisely and they're going to stand out. The mediocre, lazy recruiters are going to use it badly. They're going to look like asses, and they are going to be out of the industry quite soon. Let's face it. I mean, we've all been getting those emails that we just look at and we just know, okay, right, this was generated by generative AI. Okay, been there, done that. Let's not be that recruiter. So it's interesting times. I think it's going to be a big focus for 2024. And to be honest with you, I'm quite excited. You know, there's a lot of really cool softwares that are coming out, and they are going to make our lives a lot easier. And I'm glad that I'm working in this industry and not maybe in like the UI or UX or graphics industry or the developers, because I mean, they've now got AI that's coding for developers. So I think we're in one of the safer kind of industries to be in, because, you know, we are very human focused. Again, guys, we all know what's happening in Ukraine still. We all know what's kicking off in the Middle East. We've just come out of a global pandemic, energy crisis happening all over the world. Again, the world in general, from an economy perspective, isn't great. Okay, it's improving, but with these wars, again, everyone's kind of holding back and waiting to see what happens. So I don't predict 2024 there's going to be any massive kind of shoot the lights out event activity in the recruiting space necessarily. I think it's literally going to be like, gird your loins, do what you need to do to get through the year, and hopefully when we come out into 2025, things are going to look brighter for us as a planet. What's really interesting is I've been reading a lot of predictions around, you know, what does the future look like for recruiters? And there's a lot of talk around, remember when COVID first hit and then suddenly everyone wanted a recruiter? Like, I mean, we suddenly felt like the most special industry in the world. It was brilliant. For once in our lives, we were in demand and people were paying like ridiculous salaries for our services. Then what happened was there was a whole lot of layoffs, especially in the tech space. And a lot of recruiters that I actually know and have trained have actually now gone into other industries in the US, because it's taken that long for the recruitment market to pick up again. And they also don't predict that in the US and Europe, those required recruitment levels, and they were extreme during COVID, but they will even go back to what it was like pre-COVID. I don't think it's because AI is replacing us. I just think that people are realizing that, you know, maybe you need a talent sourcer and you need a recruiter together, which means less recruiters are being advertised for. There's more adverts for like talent sources, talent coordinators, employer branding specialists, talent attraction. Like the role is at last, people are realizing that we do so much, it's being broken down into different silos and different parts of the process. Interestingly though, article by Jan Teggs that came out recently was saying that where there has been an increase in the number of jobs on LinkedIn looking for recruiters has been in Asia and Africa. So there's lots of growth in that space in those two regions, you know, previously known as the poorer third world countries, which is really great to see and great for us, here in South Africa. And also what's going to come in 2024, and I want to put this on your radar, is data analysis is going to become a bigger part of recruiting. So there's increased pressure for there to be more alignment. And what I mean by that is that if you say, for example, your client tasks you to go and find let's go with a data scientist, and you go back and say, the salary you're offering is too low. This is the data that I've collected on what people are earning with the skill set that you are looking for. And we need to be able to back things up with data. So if someone says they need a Python developer with Kotlin who's also a CA, you need to go and show the searches that you've run in the data that that skill actually doesn't exist. It's not going to be good enough for us to say, well, you're looking for a purple squirrel or a unicorn, it's not going to work. It's literally going to be, this is the data that proves what I'm saying. And that will also strengthen our position as, either agencies, partnering with businesses or people that are part of existing TA teams, that we get a seat at the table, which we've been fighting for far too long now. But if we have the data to back up the things that we are saying, it gives us more, should I say, recognition that we know what we are talking about. It's not something that we're just pulling out of a random hat. Okay. And then lastly, guys, the state of work. Let's have a look with everyone who's on the call. How many of you are full-time back in the office every single day? Okay. By choice or because someone's telling you to go back into the office is the question there. So we need to think about this, because we obviously had COVID. Everyone was sent home, go and work from home. And then we had, we're having a hybrid setup, 3 days in the office. This now seems to look a lot like 4 or 5 days in the office. We also have a lot of people that are now said that they're going to work remote because they've been hired by international organizations. And this is becoming a very subjective argument. But it's becoming a really big factor in our recruitment industry, because it affects the type of person that us as recruiters go out to market to find, right? So we often have to go and find those unicorns, and then we need to go and find the right person who's willing to either work remotely when they want to go back in the office, or they want to actually stay working hybrid when you have got a 5-day-a-week kind of situation. So it's adding an even more difficult dimension. It's added to the difficulties of what's happened in 2023, to be honest, and why it's been so difficult to find the right candidate, because it's that other dimension. It's not now triple B, double E. It's having the skill set. It's now, okay, what is your work setup? There seems to be a lot more of a drive towards a 4-day work week. It is one of my goals for next year to get to a 4-day work week. I'm at 4.5 at the moment, so I've just got to kind of drop off the last half. So I'll see how that goes. It is one of my goals. But I think that this is going to be something we're going to be seeing more of, especially as we have the scarce skills, and we also don't have the budgets to match a lot of the salaries that the scarce skills require. So maybe something we need to be doing is saying to those individuals with the scarce skills, how about if we actually make this a 4-day work week and you only work 4 days? Okay. So it's different ways of structuring things and looking at, how we can be more of a talent partner of choice. And again, I think this year, last year, I think was worse from a mental health perspective. Personally, for me, it was. But I think there's going to be more focus in 2024 on mental health, work-life balance, those kind of things. As your employer realizes that this is becoming really a lot more important. Okay, nearly done. Okay, so as I said, generative AI is here to stay. We can be using it to speed up our processes, but we have to be more human. Literally, I was reading such an interesting article yesterday, and it was about how the focus for the last couple of years for recruiters has literally been your outreach automation. So looking at tools like Sourcewell, Hire Easy, whatever you've been using, putting people into engagement campaigns where they get different emails over 2 weeks, and that's been a big focus with a lot of personalization in there. I read such an interesting article coming out of the US saying that we need to start doing that, but more on a one-to-one basis. So it's about us being human beings, not bombarding people with personalized email. That isn't enough. It's literally about that 15-minute coffee conversation with someone that you're trying to chat to, getting their attention in different ways. And it was really interesting that these are the recruiters that are going to stand out. So again, I go back to those lazy recruiters hiding behind generative AI, no personalization in the outreach. Those of us who just put a little bit more effort or even hyper personalization into our relationships is really going to start showing the difference, because that human element in our industry from a global perspective, I believe, is going to be falling away. Another thing that I want to put on your radar as recruiters is, if you're not there already and you still think it's a channel for your teenagers that walk around like this, staring at their phones all the time, TikTok's going to be big in the recruiting space. All predictions are showing that TikTok and even YouTube, which has been around for a long time, but is getting bigger in the recruitment space. My advice would be get yourself onto the platform over the holidays, start figuring it out, figure out how it works, and think about things like getting a TikTok channel to start posting your ads, so maybe a company account, personal account, posting your ad, giving advice to job seekers. It really is going to be a very formidable platform in the recruiting space. Look, it's not going to be taking on LinkedIn, but it depends where you're going to be recruiting to. But it's super interesting where it's going. So if you're not there already, have a look at it. And also YouTube, really big predictions, how the usage of video and video online, a lot of people watching videos on different platforms. It is the future. So I don't know if you've noticed, YouTube's even got a shorts section now. So if you've got a video that's less than 60 seconds, it's a YouTube short, kind of along the lines of TikTok, but again, incredibly powerful. Also, you could use, YouTube as your hosting platform to post things to your website, embed them in emails, put them on your socials. So think about a YouTube channel too. And my last point, this should have been more of a focus this year. I think it has fallen by the wayside. I know Celeste is going to agree with me. Employer branding, guys, it is a must-have, not a nice-to-have. So you've got to start educating your clients around this. Talent attraction is becoming massive, because there's a lot of people these days who are sitting out there saying, I don't actually care about the salary. I want to work for a company that lets me work remotely, a brand that I, aspire to work with. I like their mission. I like their values. These things post-pandemic are becoming more and more important. So talent attraction is something that us as recruiters need to start thinking about. For those of you sitting in the agency, third-party kind of space, I think that we need to start building up our brands of our agencies. Had a very interesting chat yesterday to someone who's done a whole rebranding process for their website as an agency, and really is going to separate them from the rest. But branding as an agency, as well as talking to your clients and educating them about their brand and how are they attracting talent, using the existing workforce, their A players as their ambassadors, putting word out there from people who are there working in the trenches. That's really going to be a differentiator in the recruiting space. So guys, for those of you, if we're not connected and you've got more questions you want to ask offline, by all means, there's my details. There's training in my academy. I am actually setting aside a lot of time in January to do a lot more recording. So I'm putting free training in there. The presentation I did, a sourcing summit, the opening keynotes, I'm going to record and put in there. So keep an eye on my academy. I'm doing updates, and I'm releasing a course on business development for recruiters, because everyone's asking for it, and I've done some research into it, and it's super interesting. So I put together a course that I will be recording. And yeah, those are my contact details. So I'm actually going to stop sharing now, because I'd love to hear your feedback on what I had to say. If anyone thinks I've left anything else and they want to add it in, I am more than happy to hear your opinions. And yeah, let's just have a chat for the last 20 minutes. Look at the rush. Look at the rush of enthusiasm of people wanting to comment on what I said. Okay, Sash, go for it.
So I wanted to say the international trends don't always work in South Africa. You know what I mean? They hit there faster, and either we take longer to pick it up, or we find it doesn't work. Like, I find video doesn't work for candidates, possibly for clients, but not for the candidate side. Thoughts on that? Like international South Africa, mixed merge?
See, I disagree with that, because the video, for me, I focused on it in the second part of this year, has worked so incredibly well in a South African context. Okay. It really is. and if you think about it, what is your average person doing when they're sitting? I mean, those of you who have kids sitting staring at a screen, it's a lot of, you know, that video content. So the next generation that are coming through are going to be very used to video. And there's a lot of people that are now defaulting to a YouTube before a Google to watch a video on something before actually going to Google something. So I like the way that our international trends are not always in line, because it actually prepares us.
Okay.
Because we know what's going to be coming down the line from an international perspective, and we can kind of get ready for it. So I stand by what I said, but I appreciate what you said, Sash. I mean, if you don't think that it hasn't been working for your candidates, maybe more from an employer branding perspective to get more video out there.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle's got her
I agree with you. Specific look, it doesn't work for me on the client side, but I think for candidate engagement especially, even if it's just like preparing candidates for interviews or giving them tips on how to land the job. So like I would reference my candidates and say, watch this or watch that. And it really does help in terms of getting the placement, because they kind of know exactly what to expect. So instead of doing a boring, go through the spec and look at the duties and responsibilities and read it as if it were competency-based interviews, look at this video and this is how you can land the job. I found that that's helped. I've recently just started my own thing. And within the tech space, I mean, within the space of a month, I've already had 8 candidates go for interviews, 2 are on offer stage. So it's really been really interesting, specifically in the tech space where that's been happening. I don't know, I haven't tried it in the other industries yet, but I have tried it within the tech space, and it is working.
Marshall, I've even seen like a simple video of this is what the client's office is, like this is where you're going to park your car. It kind of gets rid of all of those fears that people are like, oh, I'm just not going to go to the interview because I'm too nervous about this. And I love the personal side of, you know, here's me on a WhatsApp call talking to you, and I might never meet you in person because that's the beauty of most of us working remotely, but you see me often on a video. And Marshall, well done on your own gig. Well done. I'm proud of you. Excellent.
Thank you.
I think Lizanne was next.
Yeah.
Yes. How's it, everybody? Lizanne here from Placement Partner. Yeah, I think the video interview has taken off quite good this year. I think it was a little bit anticipated from the South African market previous years, but this year definitely took off very well on our side. And I mean, you know, recruiters have got really creative with this feature. You know, using Placement Partner, you know, intentionally, the first step of that was for pre-screening. So, you know, send through your pre-screening questions and get candidates to obviously answer so that you can gauge better, you know, like which ones are moving forward, moving into my shortlist. I think a lot of clients these days as well have come to the party and said, you know, we actually want to see an introduction video of candidates. And, you know, again, there we were like, oh, great, wonderful. You know, you've got clients like BMW going, I want to see an introduction video with a CV. So definitely clients have started, you know, jumping on board as well. And then our recruiters got really creative with this feature, and they go, okay, hold on, I can use this for new business development, you know, and say, this is one of our business offerings. You know, this is who I am. You don't want to take my call. And we all know cold calling. It's a pain in the butt. So, you know, here I am. This is me. This is what I have to offer. Let's do business together. Let's set up that coffee date and get things done. So, yeah, definitely on the video interview space, it's taken off quite remarkably. I think, Vanessa, you're quite right. For the next generations, it's something that it just resonates with the newer generations, and they want to be seen. It's a thing. But there's also anticipation in terms of other industries, like IT people, for instance, don't want to be on a video. You know, these that's the feedback that we got as well from clients going, oh gosh, you know, my IT guys just don't want to do a video. I'm like, just let them close off their video and just do the voice recording and submit it through to you. That's also good enough. So yeah, definitely from our side, we've seen a remarkable pickup in the video interviewing aspect.
Thank you very much. Nice feedback. I like that. Jane, you next, guys. If you want to say something, put your hand up. We'll start an orderly queue here.
Thanks, Van. And thanks for sharing and taking the time, and good to see so many of you again, especially at the end of the year. So I think thanks, Lizanne, for what you were sharing about the video interviews. And I think there's things I love and there's things I really don't love about video interviews. I love the business development aspect, and I love recruiters being able to build rapport with people, give a fresh idea on how to describe a role and attract people to that. And I think I resonate with Sasha and something she shared around video interviews and what Crystal uses and Job Crystal uses for video interviews. And it can be really helpful if you need to demonstrate skills that are relevant to the role that you're applying for. Because then, yes, hiring managers can watch that video and they can see those skills live. But if you're recruiting for a role and the skills that you need to be fabulous on a video are not part of that role, then I think there is a danger of creating bias and of people being judged unfairly on their video interview in terms of their suitability for the role. If you have a kind of back office person or research role or something, that person is not enjoying being on a video. And so how they show up there does not do justice to how well they'll do in that role. So I think that's, for me, a bit of a risk, the bias. I mean, bias is present always in interviews, as I know from training
So another
interviews
thing
all the
that I
time.
want to touch on there, Jane, and I completely agree with what you're saying, it does come down to the role. What a lot of thinking at the moment is with generative AI is that how do we assess candidates? You know, how are we going to do that? Because anyone can just go and say, type a question into ChatGPT, come up with an answer and pass it off as their own. Now, people don't know that there've been CV writing experts writing people's CVs for years, and people get selected on the strength of their CV. It's the same kind of thing that we're thinking about here, is like, there's always going to be cheating. There's always people that are going to try and buck the system, try and do something a quick and easy way. And generative AI is making that a lot easier for a lot of people. Video is the one thing that you can't really fake. And that's why we've also got to start thinking about, as someone who is maybe a bit shyer. I mean, some talent sources that I meet at these conferences, you know, barely can string a sentence together. They don't look past their shoes. But they're brilliant sources, but they also wouldn't do well in a video interview, which is why the whole virtual reality assessment is coming into place to make sure that you're getting kind of what you're employing at the end of the day. So yeah, that's a great point.
So I mean, you could meet in the metaverse and you can have a kind of, you know, initial interview there. But I think at the end, again, you know, I know Sasha and I have had conversations around this. That's why you'll end up with people still wanting to meet human to human. And ChatGPT is wonderful for generating those questions, but unless you know how to build rapport and how to probe, again, it's like using AI badly and it'll be to your disadvantage. So I think with anything, you know, we need to use it to how it'll help us, not hinder us.
And that's where us bringing our human even more to be able to probe and know what the right answers are is going to become so much more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Any other comments on what I said? What are you guys feeling about 2024? Anything I missed? No? No.
Van, there was just one thing I know we were in conversation yesterday that I would be interested to know if people are experiencing is I've had a sense from some South African really experienced, really good recruiters that they have international RPOs headhunting their best people, and that there's more of a upsurge in the RPOs internationally, and that's taking away from some of the smaller recruiters and consultancies. So I'm just interested to know if anyone else has experienced that.
So yeah, I think there is a lot more RPOs, especially internationals and recruiters in general. But I think what we find is that when recruiters go international, they figure out the time difference just doesn't work, because a lot of us have kids and stuff.
Tell us about it, Sasha.
Suddenly working 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. isn't as cool as it sounded. And you can't do dinner. And then never mind the US, which is a completely different kettle. So yeah, so I think a lot of trying it and a lot of come back. Gone. It doesn't work for me.
Okay, interesting. Thanks, Sasha.
Thanks, Sasha. Yeah, I agree with what Sasha had to say there, is that, you know, it often comes with a massive salary, and then, you know, when it all falls apart, then it's difficult to get that kind of salary in the South African market. Kate?
Yeah, hi everybody. I wanted to just open a can of worms that I think was maybe opened at the conference a little bit, just in terms of how we're supporting each other as colleagues in the industry. I know it's something that Sam's brought up before as well, and just sort of trying to be there for each other and seeing each other as more sort of industry colleagues and competitors,
As
and
opposed to the enemy.
and finding some way of, I know there's a lot of work going into it, like in terms of AFSO and Recruiters Unite and things like that, but just to do it as much as we can as individuals as well. Obviously we are competitors, possibly in the agency space or things like that. But trying to maybe join forces to weed out the fly-by-nights and the people who are giving us a bad name. So if anyone's got any suggestions around that, I think there's some interesting conversations to be had there that might benefit us all.
But I want to comment on that, and thank you for raising that point. It's good to see you again. So 4.5 years now, I've been running my own business, and I've been trying to break down those walls and those barriers, having events like this, having the Talent Hunters group, getting more people talking, hosting those coffee mornings, bringing as much information from what I learned internationally into the South African space. And I feel it's something that we have to do. We really and truly have to do. And I think it's happening. The improvement that I've seen, and it's not just down to Vanessa, the one-man band here, there are so many people out there, like everyone who's on this call, like I feel is making a difference. There are certain members of this community that stand out for me time and time again. It's the people that you see on these calls every single time. The Janes, the Celeste, the Mickeys, the Kates, the Sashas, the Sams, Leonie's, Marshall, people who are interested in the future and who are investing in being better themselves has a knock-on effect that actually the industry as a whole is better. Now, I'm going to try and say this as politically correctly as possible, but I would love to see an organization that is working harder to promote that, as opposed to key individuals in this community who are trying to achieve that all by themselves. But look, every little bit completely makes a difference, and we are far better than what we were a couple of years ago. Are we perfect? Is it all the way we want it to be? No, but I definitely think that it's far better, and I see a lot of candidates being handed that we can't help, and interaction and people talking. So that's my 2 cents worth. Anyone else want to add anything in there?
Oh, come on, Sam.
You want to.
Come on, Sam.
We can put everybody else on mute and Sam can take the floor for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, you know what I want to say. But you're 100% right. We definitely are getting there, and I think if we do more of this, it will grow. Yeah, I mean, I'll take up the rest of the day, but you know what I'm gonna say.
I think
I must say, at that last conference, it was, we probably work more together than the international community works together as a recruiters agency wise. Like when we spoke about candidate box and stuff, like the UK and the US were like, it'll never work with us. So there is definitely something we do a little bit more better being South Africans.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we talk about employer branding and things like that, and agency branding, but if we have recruitment industry branding, that we are all working towards that kind of thing, I think that could be something quite positive for us to maybe put some heads together and get something together like that.
But all of us that are trying that a little bit harder, that are being a little bit more human, going out of our way to help individuals, goes that little step further to making the recruitment industry look a lot better than the reputation we have lumped in with the second-hand car salesman. So I think every little bit that we are doing is really and truly helping, and we just need to keep it up. I mean, I look at people who, do my training and want to do better. And as I say, people who pitch up, and the numbers are growing. We're becoming like a little army, and we'll do it. It also makes it quite interesting for us, because us good recruiters will stand out as a result, because the bad recruiters are just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So just keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Action.
Yeah. Celeste?
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. Just listening to the conversation, rich conversation. I think, the kind of initiative that Sasha's done will basically, I think it's a very good move in the right direction when it comes to building a community. It's all give and no get. So kudos to you, Sasha. I think it's wonderful. There's more in it for the community than in it for herself, kind of thing. And I think that kind of initiative really needs to start happening. I think if as a community we can all start giving a little bit more, I think that will go a long way. There always has been a stigma. I mean, I've been in the industry for too long than you can even gather, but I think there's always been a community. There's people play their cards very close to their chest. And I don't know if it's because of survival of the fittest in our economy, the way it is. I don't know if it's a natural stigma attached to it, but there is certainly a lot more sharing in the global community. And I think we need to take a page out of their book. And that kind of effort, you know, if everyone has to give a little bit in some shape or form, I think it'll go a long way.
Absolutely. It's those little bits that go a long way. I just want to comment on something that was in the chat that I'm coming to you, Lee. South Africans, you guys know that I train all over the world. South Africans are definitely not like the ugly red-headed stepchild that we make ourselves out to be when it comes to the recruitment industry, to be honest. We literally are streaks ahead. We have to be more innovative. We don't have as big a budgets to pay for LinkedIn Recruiter and hire easies. Some of the best talent sources that I have seen are actually in this country. So guys, we are on par, if not better, than a lot of the teams I train internationally. Lee?
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Vanessa. So my situation is a bit different because we recruit South Africans to work for American companies. But we were recruiting for recruiters for a client in the US. And I think a lot of times we as recruiters knows the rules, you know. You pitch for an interview. If something happens, we had 4 instances of recruiters that were selected for interviews by the clients, and they just ghosted us completely. And my Victoria was actually working those roles, Vanessa, and she was like, I couldn't believe it. If that is how they act as recruiters, how do they treat their candidates? And it was a bit disappointing because we've lost that client now. He says, no, the South Africans are not really committed to this process. Yeah.
And I think that that's more of like a countrywide issue, you know, that it's the perception that we put out there as a nation. We're actually some of the strongest, most resilient people that I've ever met. I mean, take load shedding, for example. So guys, what I want to say is I want to thank everyone who's on this call for your support this year. I literally, I know I'm a solopreneur, but I never feel alone. I never feel like I have no support. There's always someone that I can phone and ask for advice or, you know, jump on a Zoom call with. Let's keep this community strong. Let's keep helping each other. Now that I've obviously moved to the arse end of the world, I'm probably going to host sessions like this maybe once a quarter. You know, I can't do the in-person coffee mornings anymore like we used to in 4 Ways and good old Josie. So I'm thinking of doing sessions like this. What do you guys think about that? Would you guys jump on a call like this every quarter for an hour just to banter, chat, new developments, share? Would you be happy if I set that up?
Sorry, Van, it's not the arse end of the world.
Oh, okay.
It's too pretty to be an arse.
Okay, so I'll keep that going. That will be my commitment to this community once a quarter, and just keep what you guys are doing. I actually was chatting to some friends yesterday, and I just said every year that you finish, you've got to look back, as I started with. You've got to reflect. You've got to look at the good. You've got to look at the bad, but also just pat yourself on the back, guys. We've made it through another year. I mean, that's quite an achievement in really difficult conditions. You know, sometimes world politics, recession, economy isn't always on our side, you know, oil price. These are things we can't control. Yet we're still in business. We're still smiling. We're still a great bunch of people, and we're still profitable. And I think that's also really, really important. So guys, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and thank you for being here today. If anyone wants to hang around and chat, you're more than welcome to. I don't know when my next meeting is, but I think it's later. But if not, you can't hang around. Cheers, nice to see you, and I'll set something up. Watch out for the videos, because they're going to be sneaky videos that if you watch to the end, you can join us. And I'll see the
Thanks,
person in March.
Thanks.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Now.
Great. Bye. Hope it goes well.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.